African Festival 2024 Weekender, inviting all Africans in the diaspora across the United States to Columbus this July. Come, let's celebrate our cultural heritage and financial freedom. There's going to be a business forum, jollof, wache, yam, Afro-dance, traditional dance, kizomba, Afrobeat, reggae, go-go, funk, poetry, fashion, jewelry, art, and all things culture. There'll be a lot of guest performance from all across the continent, dance, art, exhibition, and so many more. Don't miss out on the networking, socializing, and connecting. This event is powered by Columbus African Festival and Ohio Ghana Fest, sponsored by the Ohio City Council, Greater Columbus Art Council, Department of Neighborhood, U.S. Bank, and many more. Media partners UDAI Studios, Revolt, Echo Square, and Spider Tech. For more information, visit columbusafricanfestival.com. Follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, Columbus African Festival, on Instagram at Columbus African Festival. Email us at columbusafricanfestival@gmail.com. Don't forget to equally follow our partners at Ohio Ghana Fest. You don't want to miss the biggest Pan-African family festival in the Midwest. All roads lead to the Columbus Main Library Auditorium on Friday 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., then General Park 303 West Broad Street on Saturday, July 27 and Sunday, July 28 from 10 to 9 p.m. Building a united African community.
Good evening, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Columbus African Showcase podcast. My name is Clementine, and today I'm very excited to have Dr. Barth Shepkong with me. And today we are going to celebrate the launch of the Ohio African Chamber of Commerce, OACC, which is officially opening this Friday on July 26th. So today, super exciting episode for you. We are going to explore the mission and the vision of the OACC and its impact on African businesses in Ohio. We're going to talk about key resources and support available to members, including funding and businesses and business development services, and also just the Chamber's role in advocating for African businesses at various levels. So again, let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Barth Shepkong.
Thank you, Clementine. How are you?
Good to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. I'm here. So
I love it. That's right. We need you to be here because listen, this is super exciting. Never heard of an African Chamber of Commerce before. And if anyone is going to start an initiative that is going to be absolutely valuable, it's going to be you. I feel like your hands are in everything and everything you touch turns into gold. So super excited to have you. So can you just briefly share your background and how you even, thought about this whole idea of starting this Chamber of Commerce?
well, once again, thank you for having me, and I'm glad to be here. I'm privileged to be here with you this evening. So, in terms of my background, originally I'm Nigerian. Been in the U.S. Actually this is my 20th year in the United States.
Wow.
Came in as a student, and finally I decided to stay back, and I'm here. The U.S. is now, home away from home. Um, I'm a father, a husband, and also a social entrepreneur. So, in terms of that, that's my background, anyways. Um, I've been involved in the community here in the city of Columbus and in Ohio for a while now. So someone who has a background in social justice, community development, and policy. So I feel like it's good to basically put what you've learned into practice. So basically, that is what I'm doing. I don't know if everything I touch or anything I touch turn into gold, but we're just trying our best, to be very impactful, especially in our community, the African community, not just in Central Ohio, but in Ohio in general.
So aren't you also, or you've been a professor too, right? A college professor?
Yeah, I am. I'm an adjunct. I teach cultural diversity at Central Ohio Technical College, sociology, and also philosophy sometimes. So that is another aspect of my life that I'm dealing with professionally.
You got to toot your own horn. You've done so much, and I feel like you forget to put, these these big achievements. Very, very inspiring. So what inspired you to establish the OACC, and do you have other people you work with? Tell us more about that.
Absolutely. So I'm sure you know that I'm one of the co-creators of the Columbus African Festival. And the idea of the Ohio African Chamber of Commerce started about 2 years ago. We're just having a conversation about the African Festival, myself, um, Harris Mpoku, Mustafa Bayo, Dr. Gacho Momapis, and
That's his wife, by the way. Dr. Gacho Moma Peace is his wife. All right. I digress.
Well, as my wife, yeah, Dr. Gacho Momapis, Dr. G, as we call her, and the city councilwoman, Lourdes de Padilla. So we're having this conversation, and see, it's when you talk about showcasing African culture, it's not just about coming and having fun and going back, but we were thinking about what exactly can we do that will definitely impact people, and we've realized that when you look at in Ohio in general, we have they have the Latino or the Latino Chamber of Commerce. They have the Asian Chamber of Commerce. We have the African American Chamber of Commerce. There's a Black Chamber of Commerce. So something is missing,
Right.
and that is the African Chamber of Commerce. So what exactly is going on? So that's when we started, because to be honest, there is a need. That is seriously, and as also as a small business owner, you know, I think this is highly needed because there are some agencies. I'm not going to mention names. There are some agencies or places that you go, or some chambers that do not really understand, the cultural. I don't want to say, the cultural backgrounds of
Right,
most
right, right.
and you realize that most of them have all of these red tapes that you have to go through. So
Mhm.
it's very difficult. So we decided, you know what, I think it's time. Again, as I said, it started about 2 years ago, and conversations, doing some research and everything, and we decided, you know what, since this year we're adding the business component to the Columbus African Festival, why not launch the Ohio African Chamber of Commerce? So we decided to register it. Actually, it was registered 2 years ago, but nothing has been done, So we decided, you know what, I think it's time, because everything I believe is time, even though
that's right. That's right.
We had a little bit of a couple of conversations with people at the Columbus Chamber of Commerce, especially there's Brian, who is the vice president of government relations at the Columbus Chamber of Commerce, who basically, he gave us a guide. He guided us through the process and everything. I can tell you it was overwhelming, but if not now, when? So that was when we decided, you know what, we just have to take the leap of faith. This is needed in the community. And we're happy to say that tomorrow, finally, we're going to be launching it at the library downtown.
I love it. And I like what you said, if not now, then when? And to add to that is, if not me, then who, right? You like that, right?
Absolutely.
And I like what you just said about, having this cultural difficulties, for Africans to open businesses. And I've seen that so many times when someone who used to own a successful business in Africa would come to the US and they just don't know where to begin. They think they can run a business in America like they used to run it in Africa, which is a no. And so I definitely see the need for this organization.
Absolutely.
So what has your home country influenced your approach to business and leadership? Leading your business here in Ohio?
Yeah, as a child, growing up, as we all know, most of us Africans is our parents are really focused on education. You need to go to school and either you become a doctor or you become this or you become that. So I actually learned this concept of entrepreneurship from my mom, as a matter of fact, because there are some things that you're not taught in school. There are some things that you see your parents do little things here and there, how businesses are being done, not in a professional way, but at the same time, it's putting food on the table, is paying the bills, so you imbibe those values. And of course, you surround yourself with a great support system, people that you see that are doing other things that you really want to emulate or you really want to be like them. So yes, the answer to your question is yes. My home country, Nigeria, has actually, I grew up in a place called Tudunwada in Jos Plateau State, in north central Nigeria. So it has really influenced me. It has influenced the entrepreneurial spirit in me and also the leadership spirit in me, because, there are some things that, again, as I said, you don't learn in school. Your environment actually, you get to learn from the environment you grew up in. So, yeah, the answer to your question is yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So what are some unique opportunities or challenges have you faced as an African entrepreneur here in Ohio or in America in general?
A lot.
We can write a book about it, right? A whole book.
I can write an entire encyclopedia. It's very hard to figure out how to start a business. Especially when you look at some of the African businesses here I am sure, I don't want to say 100% sure, but I'm sure that most African businesses do not, when they're trying to start a business, they don't even know where to start. Nobody is there to guide them. You don't have anyone that can hold your hand and say, okay, this is what you need. There are simple things like maybe registering your business with the Secretary of State. Yeah, a lot of them that don't know, So going back to your question, most of the difficulties or the challenges that I faced as a business owner is, as we all know, seeking for I don't want to say grants or, like the finances to
Right.
you have to go
You need money to make money, so
absolutely. So you need money to make money, and you get all this. You're trying your best possible to put your business out there. You are being asked to register or to be a member of different professional organizations or business organizations that will help you. But at the same time, you realize that, hold on a minute, is this really working? So we are, as a business owner, I have tried that. We've tried that, myself and my wife. We've tried that a lot, and sometimes it's a little bit frustrating. Again, I'm talking about the red tapes. There are a lot of red tapes that you have to go through. You have to go through a lot of red tape. So, and there are some people that, if they are not persistent or they are not patient enough, they'll just give up. And that is how businesses, especially small businesses, that is how they just die completely. Because when people are just frustrated, and they are frustrated with the process, they are frustrated with everything, and they just give up, and that's it. They would rather go and work for someone instead of being entrepreneurs. So again, it has been challenging, but we keep pushing, and it's still challenging.
Absolutely. And this is not a question I had prepared to ask you, but we do have some viewers making comments. Okay. And I'm going to ask you a question regarding these comments that this viewer just made. Do you think there is still discrimination when setting up a business? Is that something you think you faced, or what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, it's not that I think. It's something that is still is alive and active. Systemically, it is a systemic, systemic discrimination. It still exists. I didn't just want to call it discrimination. I said red tapes.
Red tapes.
So of course, yeah.
This is a safe space. Go ahead.
It still exists. To be honest, it exists. Again, maybe it's not blatant, but it's systemic. Again, as I said, I as an African, with my own different cultural values, there are some cultural barriers that affect or affect us. Especially people of not just Africans, but those in the diaspora. Immigrants, for example. I don't like the word new Americans, but immigrants. So it affects all of us. Whether you're African, Asian, South American, there are red tapes that you have to go through. And for me, I feel like this is a very it frustrates people, and the frustration sometimes turn to people just give up. So that is what we're trying to figure out, how we can form this safe space, create this safe space, and for us by us, that we know our struggles, we know our problems, we know our issues, and we can advocate for the small businesses in Ohio, and not just in the state of Ohio, not just in the county or central Ohio, but also in the federal level.
Yes, and I have no doubt that this is going to grow and reach Africans in all parts of the country. And I like the fact that you said create a safe space. But what I also hear you saying is, advocating for these Africans, that also kind of makes it a brave space. So not only are you creating a safe space, but also a brave space. So can you talk more about what kind of resources or services that members of this African Chamber of Commerce will have access to?
Yeah, so for us, again, I'm going to talk a little bit about one of our mission, and also a little bit of the vision is what we we set out to do is to foster economic development and also empowerment within the African community, in Ohio in different aspects, and also to be a leading catalyst for economic prosperity and also cultural engagement. So some of the things that we set up to do is one, networking and business development. Whether we like it or not, we need the networking. You need to connect all these businesses with each other. They need to know each other, to share their stories, share their struggles, and also come up with, solutions to some of these, whether we like it or not. The truth of the matter is this: we may think that the world is big. It's very, very small.
Yeah.
When you're looking for something, I know Clementine. I will give you an example. We are, preparing for the Columbus African Festival, and I just realized that the guy that is gonna do the stage, he's gonna put on the stage. We're struggling to figure out where we're gonna get electricity. Guess what? I didn't realize that the stage guy knows the electrician. So
right.
So these are some of the things that we're trying to do, especially among African businesses in Ohio, and also advocate and representation. We advocate for all these businesses. Try to come up with policies that will help these small businesses. There are a lot of small businesses that access to loans they cannot have, especially SBA loans, for example, which is called the Small Business Administration. How do you navigate the Small Business Administration? Build capacity and training. We're talking about, it's not just your mom and pop shop, but or store, but find a way to grow your business, right? And also access to resources. Providing access to business support such as legal assistance, for example. There are a lot of businesses that maybe are in serious debt, but they don't know how to get out of it. We're not saying that we are gonna help them with that, but at the same time, create a path for them to get that, and also promote diversity and inclusion. Our diversity is our strength. Ohio is changing. The number of immigrants in this country, in this state, in this country, and in Ohio is changing. And immigrants are the future of this country.
100%.
So we're gonna definitely promote that by promoting our diversity and inclusion in the business community, by also supporting initiatives that foster equal opportunities and for African entrepreneurs and also professionals.
Oh, I love it. So we are going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we are going to take one more question from the audience and go on with the interview. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to the Columbus African Showcase podcast. Today we have Dr. Shepkong, Dr. Barth Shepkong, and we are talking about the Ohio African Chamber of Commerce, the OACC, which will officially open this Friday, July 26th. Now, before we went on break, I did promise to ask Dr. Shepkong another question from the audience. This question comes from Morenike Adesulu. I hope I say that right. Adesulu.
Right, you did well. You did well.
And the question is a directory of African businesses in the works?
Absolutely, it is. You cannot have a chamber without a directory of African businesses in Ohio. So we are gathering all this data, and once we finish compiling them, it's gonna definitely be on the website. As a matter of fact, the website will go live tomorrow also. So we're just putting everything out, tomorrow. So it will go live tomorrow, and all our social media handles will also go live tomorrow. But the simple answer to the question is yes. Directory of African businesses is in the works. Absolutely.
That's great, because I also saw someone else saying that there are so many directories out there, and hopefully this one directory is going to be all encompassing of all the businesses, and of course the correct contact information, making sure that the business is still in business and where they say they are. So
Absolutely.
that's definitely going to be a great resource, because a lot of the times, we want to go out and support our African brothers and sisters, and sometimes you just never know where to go. So that's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that leads me to my next question. So you have the directory in the works. What other milestones do you hope to reach the first year that you're officially going to open? What are some of the things you hope to accomplish by the end of the year?
Yeah, so by the end of the year, the one thing we're trying to accomplish is, hopefully, once it's launched tomorrow, our short-term goal is to, number one, hopefully hire an executive director, and also support staff that will basically manage the affairs of the chambers, and also maybe by the end of the year organize some kind of a business development and training or workshop or seminar for African businesses. So that is short term. And long term, hopefully to get our own building, right? Our own building with a big sign, the Ohio African Chamber of Commerce. So
that's right.
And also source for grants, state, county, federal grants, because you cannot do this. These things, even though it's a non-profit, but you still need money to make it work. So basically, long-term, short-term goals. Short-term hire an executive director and maybe some support staff, and long-term goal, hoping to get our own building maybe in the next year. That's our goal in the next year. Well, towards the end of next year.
Awesome. So who is on the board? What is the representation of African countries on the board, and how can people, get involved to be part of this?
You mean to be part of the members of
Either.
or to be okay? So again, these are things that right now we have interim board. We have interim board, and talking about the demographic, the representation. At the top of my head, we have Guinean, Kenyan, that's East African, West African. I think we need to work on South and North Africa. So right now we have a couple of people who are basically the interim board that trying to make this thing happen. And in terms of being a member of the board, of course, it doesn't come for free, because all this training and seminars and everything is not free. There's gonna be a charge based on the category of the business.
Of
So
course.
everything will be on the website as soon as it's launched tomorrow. I don't want to just scare people away. At the beginning we start talking about money, but that is not the case. But the demographic is well represented. But again, we need to work on somebody, someone from, and it will come, it will definitely come. Maybe somebody from North and South Africa, because East, West, and maybe Central Africa, it's already, and in terms of the gender, I know you may ask me that. So it's well.
You already know that was coming.
Well balanced. It's well balanced. So it's really well represented. We don't want it to be your typical, organization whereby we're talking about diversity and inclusion. Right, so we have to practice what we preach to.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked about the demographics, especially which parts of Africa they're from, is because I know you are very big on diversity and representation. So I just want to put this call out there that, if you feel like you're not being represented, reach out, and I am sure you'll be welcomed with open arms. Right. As many diverse ideas as we can get, I'm sure will be welcomed.
Absolutely.
Do you intend on collaborating or working with other chambers of commerces, networking events? Have you had meetings with them? Can you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. Collaboration is key. Again, I've stated at the beginning that before we even delve into this seriously, we had series of meetings and conversations with Des Bryant from the Columbus Chamber of Commerce. So we also, even though we're given trainings and going to be doing trainings and coaching or mentorship, we also, as a chamber, as a new chamber, we need coaching, we need mentorship. We need mentors. So we're looking into those that have done it before, to be our mentors, to guide us on, like maybe be on the advisory, not just chambers, people in the political scene, because whether we like it or not, you have to play a little bit of politics to get what you want. That's what we're talking about, advocacy and policy, So, collaboration with different chambers to see, where we can find a common ground to work together, I think is great. So we intend to do that as we move forward.
Okay. And so I know you and your wife are business owners here in Ohio. You're very involved in the community. What about Ohio do you love that got you thinking, you know what, I am going to settle here and I am going to start a business here and be an entrepreneur?
You don't want me to be honest? I don't want to get in trouble, but
Listen, be honest, and we'll figure out the rest later.
At the beginning, I hated it coming from a bigger city. I mean,
Chicago, right?
I lived in Chicago. You cannot compare Chicago to Columbus,
But the cold is a little.
Well, I mean, the cold is not really. I mean, so it was a bit difficult. The assimilation for me was different, but I made Columbus my home, and it's a great place to, first of all, to raise a family. That is one, and secondly, you can succeed in any way that if you put your mind on something, you're definitely going to be able to succeed. Even though you're going to face some bumps on the road, but I think it's not as big as Chicago, and that makes it easier to navigate your way through the system.
Okay.
Getting, I don't want to say heavily involved, but at least I'm involved also in the city council. So it's great. It's a great place, and I can see the change. I moved here when 2014. And the Columbus of today is not the Columbus of 2014. I can see the growth, and as a matter of fact, I was like, do I really want to live in the city? Maybe I should move to a place somewhere like Delaware or Hilliard, But it's a great city, the growth and everything, and people are willing to help. You have to reach out. Yeah, I've
Right.
seen. You have to reach out, and people are ready to listen to you. So I loved it. I loved it. When we started our business, you could see the support from different demographics. People are so curious and curious to, okay, what is this? What is this? So it's an awesome city. That's what I can say.
That's awesome. So we are going to take one last break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about any advice that Dr. Shepkong would have for new immigrants or just immigrants in general that are starting, that want to start a business here in Ohio. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
African Festival 2024 Weekender, inviting all Africans in the diaspora across the United States to Columbus this July. Come, let's celebrate our cultural heritage and financial freedom. There's going to be a business forum, jollof, wache, yam, Afro-dance, traditional dance, kizomba, Afrobeat, reggae, go-go, funk, poetry, fashion, jewelry, art, and all things culture. There'll be a lot of guest performance from all across the continent, dance, art, exhibition, and so many more. Don't miss out on the networking, socializing, and connecting. This event is powered by Columbus African Festival and Ohio Ghana Fest, sponsored by the Ohio City Council, Greater Columbus Art Council, Department of Neighborhood, U.S. Bank, and many more. Media partners UDAI Studios, Revolt, Echo Square, and Spider Tech. For more information, visit columbusafricanfestival.com. Follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook Columbus African Festival, on Instagram at Columbus African Festival. Email us at columbusafricanfestival@gmail.com. Don't forget to equally follow our partners at Ohio Ghana Fest. You don't want to miss the biggest Pan-African family festival in the Midwest. All roads lead to the Columbus Main Library Auditorium on Friday 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., then General Park 303 West Broad Street on Saturday, July 27 and Sunday, July 28 from 10 to 9 p.m. Building a united African community.
Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to the Columbus African Showcase podcast, where we're interviewing Dr. Barth Shepkong on the new Ohio African Chamber of Commerce that will be launching this Friday, July 26th. Everyone come out and support. Dr. Shepkong, tell us again where and what time is this launch going to take place?
It's going to be at the Main Library downtown on South Grand Avenue tomorrow from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome. So all Africans come support if you want to network and
Absolutely.
Learn about resources for establishing businesses, talk to other business owners. Feel free to come. It's a free event.
Absolutely, it is. It is free, and there's going to be refreshment afterwards. So.
Oh, refreshments! All right.
Light refreshment, by the way. Light refreshment.
light refreshments. Okay, so we're not going to get a whole dinner, but
no, you're not
you
getting a
will
whole
not
dinner.
be hungry. You're not going to leave the event hungry either. And I will be there, so hopefully I'll see everyone on there. Invite all your friends. They don't have to be Africans, y'all. They do not have to be Africans. We want our American friends to join. Invite everyone that you can. Talking about this not being just for Africans, Dr. Shepkong, I had an idea.
Okay.
And I know I'm like going off script, but whatever. I'm the hostess.
I
So
know.
I had an idea. When I saw this, I was like, okay, I know we're trying, the mission is to help give entrepreneurs resources to start businesses here in Ohio. But can we even think outside of that and, have communication with African American brothers on how to navigate starting a business in Africa or investing in Africa, right?
Absolutely.
And have that conversation, because I feel like there is a gap. And to be perfectly just blunt and honest, when I travel to Africa, I see, a lot of non-African Americans there. They have businesses. They're millionaires. They're growing, and I'm like, this is the home of like the African Americans. Like they should be going there and starting businesses and reaping the fruits of their motherland. And the reason why they're not doing it is because it's not because they don't want to. It's just knowledge, like lack of knowledge and misconception of what Africa is like and things like that. So in the future, I have a dream is that, to maybe have these types of conversation. What do you think?
Absolutely, yeah, because foreign trade is part of it, and it's gonna go both ways. We're trying to take business to Africa,
Right.
and instead of other demographics, I mean, why not our African American brothers and sisters?
Exactly.
So, of course, we definitely going back to what your question earlier in terms of collaboration. We're definitely going to be collaborating and also, sharing ideas and perspective on, like currently, I and some of my colleagues, we're trying to now we're working with an African American, as a matter of fact, to see how we can take a call center, a call center in Nigeria, so we had to do the research to see how the market is, so these are some of the things that definitely I think it's going to be worthwhile if it's being explored, and we're using this as a template. Hopefully it works. Then you can have a testament, say, okay, you see, this is what happened, and this guy is here and he's doing this, the business is blooming. And as a matter of fact, yes, you keep asking yourself, why is it that, I don't know what people are talking about, but why is it that some group of folks, they find themselves in the continent of Africa, they set up a business and the business blossom? They're ripping.
I was talking about the same group of folks that you're talking about.
Okay, that's fine. Let us not mention. Yeah, but again, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good idea, because I know a couple, as a matter of fact, a couple of African Americans that are exploring businesses in the continent of Africa.
That's good.
Exploring businesses in Nigeria. So we can also be a resource, a hub, that can, give them all these resources that they are looking for, and also hopefully help them set up a business there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is definitely a conversation I would like to be part of, and very exciting.
Absolutely. Looking into different sectors of the economy. I mean, there are a lot to explore. So we have a lot of work to do.
Right. That's awesome. So I know we have about 10 minutes left, and just wanted to ask you, what advice would you give Africans that are still in Africa, that are looking to come to the US to start a business?
Well, if you've never been to the United States and you think you're just going to come from wherever in the continent of Africa to start a business, it's not a piece of cake. That is one. It's not easy. It's difficult. There are some countries that don't have the rules and regulations that we have here. If you really want to do a business or start a business, if you find yourself here, you have to follow the due process. You have to follow due process. The process of registering your business, making sure you get all the necessary documents, pay your taxes as a business owner, but it's not just, okay, I'm coming from, let's say, for example, from Ogun State, let's say, for example, from Iperurem or from Ogun State. Say, I'm just gonna come start a business just like that. No, it's not gonna happen. You need mentors. You need people that will guide you. And it will require a lot of patience, because there will definitely be bumps on the road. You will be frustrated, but once you set your mind and you are focused, and patient, because most of the time, whether we like it or not, they said most times, if a business is going to last after 5 years, so the first year might be difficult, but you have to keep going. The second year might be difficult. The third year might be difficult. But once you get the groove of it, for lack of a better word, you will be able to be successful. So one word for me is that consistency, patience, and dedication. That's it.
Consistency, patience, and dedication.
You have to get up every day. Sometimes I don't feel like getting up. I go to bed at 2 a.m. Sometimes I go to bed at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Then 6, I'm already up.
Right.
So it's being a business owner is not easy. Sometimes you ask yourself, should I just go and start working for someone? But at the same time, there is this pride in being your own boss. I'm not saying that all of us are going to be our own boss working for ourselves. I mean, then the economy might crumble, So, but at the same time, it requires patience, consistency, and dedication.
So I have had conversations with some immigrants who maybe used to be, doctors back home, or used to have big successful businesses, and they decide to come to the US and start a life here. And a lot of the times it's, for their children, right? Education and things like that. And they expect to bounce back so fast, right? Can you talk about that? Because I've seen some struggle to take just like regular normal jobs, like working in a warehouse, and the pride just won't let them do that. And I feel like I've seen that people who don't have as much pride actually are more successful in the long run. People who are just more flexible than those who are not. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, it's we have to understand that we're coming from an entirely different culture, an entirely different system. The educational system is somehow similar, but it's different. The work setting is you might be let's take a lawyer, for example. You're a lawyer back home, and you don't expect to come and be a lawyer here outrightly, because even in the United States, every state has its own laws, right? So you have to go back to school, take the bar exams, because the bar exams in New York is completely different from the bar exams in Texas or California, right? So the state laws are different, even though we live in so you cannot just, I remember was this sometimes in 2005, either 2005 or 2004. I read an article, I was reading an article, and this guy was just narrating, this, how long it will take you to be able to settle down in the US. He said it will take you at least at minimum 10 years. I said, man, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I was reading it and I said, come on, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. What is he talking about? What do you mean 10 years? But sitting down after that, I always remind myself, looking at my life, it took me almost 10 years to be where I am today.
Yeah.
So you don't expect to just come, some might be 10, some might be 2, some might be 3, some might be 4, 5, every situation is different. But again, the system is different. You don't just expect to just come. You are coming to a different society, a different culture, different rules and regulations, everything is different, So you just have to be patient, if you, and also be level-headed, because pride, it's not going to take us anywhere. I've seen people that came as, they were doctors back home. They came, they took they were doing all these odd jobs, and they end up but they set their heart on the prize. They are doing the odd jobs and at the same time studying and making sure that. So at the end of it all, they're able to achieve their goal, or they're able to achieve their dream. So my advice is you have to be patient. There's no rush. You cannot be faster than your shadows when you so just be patient. Learn the system. Learn how things are being done. Because sometimes if you're trying to be faster than your shadows, that's how you get yourself in trouble.
Right.
It requires a lot of patience.
Right.
Learning. Understanding the culture, understanding the system. Before before you know it, you get to where you are supposed to get.
That is great insight, Dr. Shepkong. Thank you so much for sharing. What I'm hearing is, when you come to Ohio and you want to start a business and you want to settle down and be established, give yourself some grace.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Absolutely. And most importantly, you have the Columbus African,
the Ohio African Chamber.
The Ohio African Chamber of Commerce, the OACC, to support you, hold your hand, help you with some resources and all of that. How can people reach you? How can they contact the Ohio African Chamber of Commerce?
As I said, our website will be launched tomorrow morning. So you can find us at the ohioafricanchamber.org. We're going to be on all the social media handles. And on the website, there will be, a place for you to basically, register, be a member, seek for, join our mailing list. So there will be mailing lists for everyone or anyone that wants to be a member of the chamber. And we're going to be also quarterly having some networking events whereby people will come around and network and share ideas. We're just all about educating each other and sharing resources with each other and helping ourselves, as Africans and business owners and also professionals and everything. So it's not just going to be for just business, but also professional development, So you can find us at the ohioafricanchamber.org or all the social media handles.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Dr. Shepkong, for being with us today. This was the Columbus African Showcase podcast. And everyone, have a great evening.
Thank you for having me, Clementine. See you once again. Thank you. Good to see you.
Bye.
Columbus African Festival 2024 Weekender, inviting all Africans in the diaspora across the United States to Columbus this July. Come, let's celebrate our cultural heritage and financial freedom. There's going to be a business forum, jollof, wache, yam, Afro-dance, traditional dance, kizomba, Afrobeat, reggae, go-go, funk, poetry, fashion, jewelry, art, and all things culture. There'll be a lot of guest performance from all across the continent, dance, art, exhibition, and so many more. Don't miss out on the networking, socializing, and connecting. This event is powered by Columbus African Festival and Ohio Ghana Fest, sponsored by the Ohio City Council, Greater Columbus Art Council, Department of Neighborhood, U.S. Bank, and many more. Media partners UDAI Studios, Revolt, Echo Square, and Spider Tech. For more information, visit columbusafricanfestival.com. Follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook Columbus African Festival, on Instagram at Columbus African Festival. Email us at columbusafricanfestival@gmail.com. Don't forget to equally follow our partners at Ohio Ghana Fest. You don't want to miss the biggest Pan-African family festival in the Midwest. All roads lead to the Columbus Main Library Auditorium on Friday 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., then General Park 303 West Broad Street on Saturday, July 27 and Sunday, July 28 from 10 to 9 p.m. Building a united African